ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So welcome to everybody to these talks on Upadesha Saaram, which is a short but very profound, comprehensive grantha or a text. And the title means essence of the teachings. Yeah, which teachings? Essence of the entire Vedas or essence of the entire Gita. Now, Upadesha Saaram is not to be confused with Upadesha Sahasri. Remember, we have seen Upadesha Sahasri are the 1,000 verses on Vedanta composed by or written by Adi Shankaracharya. Upadesha Saaram is attributed to Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi, and this Puja Swamiji would say is the second most important text for us, all students of Vedanta. The first being Tattva Bodha and Upadesha Saaram. Why? Because Upadesha Saaram, in a very compacted manner, it is going to highlight all the sadhanas we have seen in the 3 shatkams of the Gita. What is the role of karma, role of bhakti, role of dhyanam as the preparatory disciplines, giving us the jnana yogyata and then jnana yoga also. So the first 12 or 13 verses are about these preparatory disciplines. And then 14 up to 30, the end, is about Jnana Yoga. Okay? And you have seen how short the meter is. You know, we are very familiar with Anushtup meter, which is very common in the Bhagavad Gita, which has 8 syllables per quarter, isn't it? Lokesmin vividha vishtha pura prokta mayanadha. So 32 syllables per shloka. But here it is only 5 syllables per quarter. So only 20 syllables per shloka. No? So it's a brilliant composition by the great mind Ramana Maharishi, and who has condensed, compacted the teachings of the entire Veda in a very graded manner in these 30 verses. Now, this grantha has been composed by Ramana Maharishi, and I'm sure everybody has heard of the name and or read his books or been to Ramana Ashrama, because he is known as the sage of Tiruvannamalai. And Tiruvannamalai or Ramana Maharishi is all synonymous with Arunachala. Arunachala is worshipped as the Agni Lingam, and the name itself means, Achala means mountain, and Aruna is red. So it is one of the Jyotirlingams and a very important Tirtha Kshetram for everyone. And we know that Kartika Paurnami, how it is celebrated very grandly, and people do Girivalam also. So that is the glory of this Arunachala Kshetram, where there is this beautiful temple also, and which has become famed because of also Ramana Maharishi, who spent 50 plus years over there. So a bit about Ramana Maharishi also. You know, at the age of 16, when Maharishi was, a teenager and pursuing middle school in Madurai. Then what happened one day, this young boy, Venkatraman, simulated death. The fear of death came. He wondered, what will happen when I dramatize it? So the body was made stiff and very still. And then he realized that, okay, now the body has dead, the prana has left, but am I dead? Yeah. And is this body me? So he was able to discover that the Atma, I am distinct from the body. So I am not this Ahankara identified with the body, but the Atma, I. And that shows, all the Purva Janma Samskaras got activated in that young boy, and definitely then this was his last Janma. So from that moment onwards, that young boy was always fixated on that I notion. Ramana Maharishi later on called it the I, the higher I, and not the lower I that is identified with this anatma bodies. Then after that experience, the Maharishi just abandoned school and left home also in search and pursuit of Arunachaleshwara. And then coming to Tiruvannamalai, went straight to the temple and renounced everything and became a young tapasvi, an ascetic, living a very simple life and observed Maunam for about 11 years. And then around, the Tejasvi, Tapasvi, all the seekers and the devotees started to gather around, and then the ashram also came about. So Ramana Maharishi is also considered an avatara of Dakshinamurti. We have seen Mauna Vyakya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam, how the young sage like Dakshinamurti imparted the teachings through silence. So Ramana Bhagavan also did the same. Mostly he was very contemplative, and he would speak now and then, but whenever people would have questions regarding the world, regarding problems, regarding God, nature of God, he would counter question and say, who are you? You try to seek that tattvam and the source. Who are you? And he would say that, dwell upon that, and that will silence the mind and give you a deeper insight about the nature of Jiva, Ishvara, and Jagat. So that is about, a little bit about Ramana Maharishi. Now, this Upadesha Saaram that is attributed to, Ramana Bhagavan also has a story behind it, a background story. And that is, there is this one devotee of Maharishi called Muruganar. Now, this Muruganar was a very great Tamil scholar and devotee, and he was writing verses on the Shiva Purana, stories about about Parameshwara. And this story is set in the Daruka Vanam. Daruka Vanam is somewhere in present-day Gujarat. So there, what happens is that there are highly evolved, great tapasvi like rishis. They are performing rituals and austerities and yagas, but for the sake of siddhis and powers. Yeah, siddhis and powers. And so these people are called Purva Mimamsas. Purva Mimamsakas means who accept the Vedas, but they do not accept Ishvara. So they're also called Nirishwaras. Nirishwaras means they have full Shraddha and devotion in rituals. They say perform the rituals with Shraddha meticulously and definitely you will get the result. So they were also performing such rituals for the sake of some powers. And they say that Ishvara has no role, there is no karma phaladata. So then what happens then? Parameshwara, out of compassion, seeking to bless them, thought of a plan. Now, how can I teach these rishis in the Daruka Vanam a lesson? And then, as per the story in the Shiva Purana, Parameshwara goes to Mahavishnu and requests Mahavishnu to appear as Mohini in front of the rishis. Yeah, Mohini Avatara we already know. The beautiful celestial, queen-like. And so Mahavishnu appears as Mohini in front of these rishis who are around the yagashalas. And the rishi patnis, they are helping their husbands with, with all the accessories and preparing naivedyam, and they have to bring all the stuff. So they are also busy. Rishis are also busy. Then meanwhile, when Mohini appears before the rishis, then obviously they get enamored and they get tempted and they follow Mohini. And Mohini leads them far, far away from the Yagashala, deep into the forest. And then she vanishes. So Mahavishnu withdraws that form. Then at that moment, the rishis realize that they have been deceived. There is some trick of Maya. They have been deceived. So they rush back to the Yagashala to see what is happening there. Then they find that it is, abandoned. There is nobody there. Then when they think about their wives, what are they doing? Then they go home to the kutyas. They're not there also. And then by their tapobalam, by the power of their minds, they're able to figure out that in the meantime, Shiva had also appeared as a young mendicant, as an ascetic, very handsome and young. And so when he appears before the Rishi Patnis and says, Bhikshan, Devi, then they also get attracted by this young ascetic and follow the young mendicant away from the Yagashala, from the Kutya, deep into the forest. So when these rishis realize what is happening, then they perform something like witchcraft. They produce an elephant and a tiger, and they try to destroy the young ascetic. But of course, nothing happens to the Parameshwara. Then they also realize that, this is none other than Parameshwara, and approaching, they say, Bhavan Kaha, who are you? Please reveal your Swarupa. And then Parameshwara revealed his Swarupa and he explains to them that, see, what is the role of the Purva Bhaga of the Vedas, the Karma Kanda? It is only to give one the maturity. Why are you seeking these temporary, finite, siddhis and powers? They are not going to give you fulfillment in life. They are only intermediate goals, dharma, artha, kama, and they are finite and perishable. So this is the story set in the Daruka Vanam. So Murugana, coming back to this devotee, he is writing the story from the Shiva Purana in Tamil, and when he comes to this point, he feels inadequate to write the Upadesha that Parameshwara gives to the rishis. So he comes to Ramana, Bhagwan, and requests Maharishi to complete the story and write this section, the Upadesha part. And of course, Bhagavan Maharishi agrees graciously and writes the Upadesha Saaram in Tamil first. And then we all know, what a multilingual talent Bhagavan has, Ramana Maharishi. Then he writes even Malayalam, Telugu, Sanskritam, and then finally we have also the English translation. So that Upadesha which Parameshwara gives to the rishis in the Daruka Vanam, that is condensed in this Upadesha Saaram composed by Ramana Maharishi. So it is really called, it is the Veda Sara, this Upadesha Sara. Now, Upadesha Undiyar, in Tamil it was called Upadesha Undiyar, and the meter is very short, and in these compact verses, beautifully the essence of the entire Vedas is brought. So with that introduction, now we are going to enter into the first verse. Okay. I will display it here. There are many tunes, for this, for these shlokas, and we are sticking to a simple tune, which is even today sung at the Samadhi shrine in Ramana Ashramam, and you all may be also familiar with that. कर्तुराज्ञया प्राप्यते फलम् कर्म किं परं कर्म तज्जडम् कर्तुराज्ञया प्राप्यते फलम् कर्म किं परं कर्म तज्जडम्. So in the very first shloka, Maharishi demolishes the darshanam of the Purva Mimamsakas. And what does he say? Kartuhu agnyaya prapyate phalam. Karma kim param? Karma tat jadam. Now, karma, you all know, means action from the kri dhatu. So here, kartuhu stands for the karta. Who is the karta here? Jagat karta, Ishvara. So, kartuhu agnyaya, by the order, by the niyati, by the will of Ishvara alone, what? Phalam prapyate. Anything and everything happens by the grace of Ishvara. Then karma, what about karma? Karma kim param? There is a interrogation there. Is it the limitless? Is it sentient? Is it all knowing? Karma kim param? No. Karma tat jadam. Okay. So, karma kim jadam. And here, this is, remember this, the Upadesha has been given by Parameshwara to the Rishis. Now, the Rishis were Purva Mimamsakas, Nirishwaras. So, what is their outlook on life? The outlook on life is there is no intelligent principle, there is no Ishvara, and karma itself yields results. Water boils at 100 degrees centigrade, and there is the law of gravity. So, if I throw something up, then it will come down. So, you perform your rituals and you will get the results. And some will have finite results, and some like Jyotishtoma, Yaga, Nachiketa, Agni, they will have permanent results in the form of Swarga. Then if you ask them, who created this world? Their answer is nobody. The world is eternal. Bhuloka, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Tapaha, Janaha, all these lokas are eternally there. They don't come into existence nor become unmanifest. And if you go to Swargaloka, then that is moksha. You can enjoy there. And so, their contention is what? That karma alone yields karma phalam. So, what have they done? They have separated karma from Ishvara. They do not accept the role of Ishvara as karma phala data. Yeah? They do not acknowledge that. So, they don't acknowledge a divine commander, the big boss, that who by whose niyati everything is ordained. Yeah? And we know by now, having studied a lot of texts, that is definitely not the case. And that is what Bhagavan has pointed out here. Criticism of karma says that how does this universe run, this intelligently designed universe? Kartuhu agnyaya, by the will of the Jagatkarta Ishvara alone. And by that alone will there be phalam. Phalam in the form of any situation, any event, any manifestation, any jivas, our own birth. Is it not a karma phalam? This yuga is a karma phalam. Yeah, and time and space is karma phalam. Everything, life is a karma phalam. So, how has all this karma phalam unfolded in life? Kartuhu agnyaya. Kartuhu agnyaya. And karma, kim param, second line. Do you think this karma is param? Is it the limitless? Is that the Ishvara for you? How can you call this karma param? It is only jadam. Now jadam means insentient. Insentient means matter. Like the physical body is matter, mind is also matter, subtle matter. But there is a principle of consciousness that enlivens the bodies. We have seen this in a number of texts. Tattva Bodha, Rama Gita, Upanishads. No? So, here the point is that the Vedas are divided into two, Purva Bhaga, Karma Kanda, and the Uttara Bhaga, Jnana Kanda. So the role of the Karma Kanda is the sadhana, sadhya, sambandha to purify the mind. And one should remember that the Karma Kanda portion is only for purifying the mind and help the jiva transition over to the jnana kanda. Karma cannot give liberation, rather it will entangle the jiva. So one can make best use of the karma to purify the mind and then transition over to the jnana kanda. So these Purva Mimamsa philosophers, they believe that the Vedas are eternal, worlds are eternal, and karma yields karma phalam, and that's it. This is what even science is telling us, is it not? So they do not believe in an Ishvara. And if you ask them, how did the Vedas appear? Who manifested the Vedas? They say they are also eternal. No, the Vedas are eternally around. So they don't give importance to the Jnana Kanda. They feel the Jnana Kanda is simply, some philosophical content, but it has no real role. Yeah? And so Shiva is talking to them, the rishis, about the limitations of karma. How you're all focused on these, time-bound rituals and their karma phala. Yeah, but you have to transition to a higher purpose. And the rituals and all the austerities you're doing in this Daruka Vanam, that is only a stepping stone for you. And so in the very first verse, Sri Ramana refutes and demolishes. This is called Khandanam. Khandana means demolishes the philosophy of the Purva Mimamsakas and establishes that there is a higher intelligent principle, and that is Ishvara, by whose command, we have seen in Kathopanishad also, by whose command the sun and moon rise and set, the planets are spinning, causing day, night and seasons, and temperatures are maintained, the laws are functioning. So even you take a robo in modern science, how can just the software produce a result? Can the robo do disaster management and weather prediction without being programmed by an intelligent person, sentient person? No, it cannot. Or you take law books, So these Purva Mimamsakas are saying the laws themselves will yield results. There has to be an intelligent principle, that is interpreting all this. Yeah. Now, if I throw a ball, a simple example, if you throw a ball, at a distance, then where will the ball go and land? What is the trajectory going to be? It depends on the intensity of my throw. It depends on the weight of the ball, on the wind speed. What are the obstacles the ball is going to meet? And depending on all these factors, the ball will land on a certain surface. Yeah? So it is said that to know any outcome, what is the outcome of any result going to be, one has to know the whole universe. And that can only be Sarvajnaha Parameshwara, who is the Karma Phala Data, who connects the cause and the effect. We have seen in the Gita also, Karmanye Vadikaraste Ma Phaleshu Kadachana. I may try as much as possible, but do I always get what I expect? No. I may get less than what I expected, more than what I expected, equal to my expectations, and completely opposite. I appear for an interview very confident, but I fail in that. Then unexpectedly, something else happens, a favorable event happens. So who has taken into account all these individual karma, group karma, community karma, national, international karma? to produce a certain result. That is Ishvara, the intelligent principle. So this is the content of the first verse, which says that karma alone is jadam and cannot figure out whether it is a punya karma or a papa karma. And there has to be an intelligent, sentient principle which is going to figure out the karmas. Yeah. So kartuhu agnyaya. Let's see the verse again. कर्तुराज्ञया प्राप्यते फलं कर्म किं परं कर्म तज्जडम्. So kartuhu agnya here means Ishvara sankalpa. Yeah, the God's will or the niyati is meant here. Even when we look around in the world, look at the variety of species. Look at our own thumbprint. It is said that the thumbprint is unique. There will be nobody with this thumbprint in the past or nobody in the future generations. That is why this is used as evidence to uniquely identify a person. So who has set up all the laws and this plurality, the species and connections, cosmic networking? That is definitely a sentient principle, and we have seen it before as pure consciousness, nirguna parabrahma tattvam. And in Kathopanishad, that is the software manager called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha, the first born, and who is setting up the whole subtle universe. Yeah? So the result is not a result of action alone, but due to a combination of many factors, including the motive. Yeah? That is the first verse here. Let's go on to the second verse. So in these two verses, Bhagavan Ramana is refuting the misconceptions regarding karma phalam and karma. Let's go to the second one. Kriti mahodadhau patana karanam phalamashashvatam gati nirodhakam. Kriti mahodadhau patana karanam phalamashashvatam gati nirodhakam. Here Ramana Bhagavan says Kriti. Kriti means karma, action. Yeah? Kriti maho dadhau patana karanam. See, maha udadhi means ocean, bhavasagara. So Kriti maho dadhau, saptami, in the ocean of karmas is what patana karanam is the cause of downfall. Yeah, so we were seeing this second shloka. Kriti maho dadhau patana karanam phalam ashashvatam gati nirodhakam. Now here Bhagavan is explaining, Ramana Bhagavan is explaining how this Bhavasagara is the ocean of karma. Karma Sagara is the cause of downfall. And how the fruits of actions are not permanent, they are ashashvatam and they are nirodhakam. Gati nirodhakam means they obstruct the progress of the seed. Now, So remember, this is the Upadesha given by Parameshwara to the Rishis. So Shiva is explaining that your desire-based actions for the sake of temporary goals, dharma, artha, and kama, yeah, they can never give you the fulfillment you are seeking. Why? Because karma is finite. So how can we get infinite peace and happiness through a finite means? So there is a want or a need behind a need. Yeah. Now we all have desires. That is why we do karma. And the karma yields phalam, whether it is for career or to settle down for a job or business. Whatever, it shows that there is a desire behind the desire. And what is that desire? To be happy. That is the common desire for all. The nature to be permanently fulfilled and happy through these desires. So Parameshwara is explaining to the rishis, you are really wanting the infinite goal of permanent fulfillment and happiness, but you are seeking it through finite means. So that permanent fulfillment is really your true swabhava, your sarupa. Yeah? You do not know it. And we have seen various examples in Atma Bodha about how we are in possession of the glasses, we are in possession of the necklace, but thinking it to be lost, we are looking externally and searching for it all over. Another example which the Shastra gives is the musk deer. The musk deer has a perfume in its own navel, and it will smell the perfume and run about here and there in search of the source of the fragrance. And then it gets exhausted and drops. So searching for the fragrance is not the problem, but not knowing that I am in the possession of the fragrance, it is in my own navel, that is the problem. And so, whether it is Adi Shankaracharya or Ramana Maharishi, they will all say that the ignorance is the cause for this samsara chakra and this maha udati. Ignorance of Satchit Ananda Swarupa Atma, there is a desire, kama, and then kama leads to karma leads to karma phalam, and karma phalam leads us back to janma. So this is what is pointed out in this second shloka. Kriti maho dadhau. Maha udadi, this great ocean of action, this karma cycle, samsara chakra, this is what patana karanam. Patana karanam means cause for the downfall. How? Because whenever we fulfill a desire, what happens in the mind? It is going to leave behind a seed, a samskara, a vasana, and that is going to repeat itself. And if it is not fulfilled, we know what happens. Then there is kama will change to krodha. And krodha bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smriti vipramaha, smriti vipramshat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. So kama, Krishna has explained many times that is the prime villain, kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guna samudbhavaha. And that kama is addressed here, is a source of the karma. It is patana karanam. And this phalam is what? Ashashvatam. So whatever desire we fulfill for dharma, artha and kama, we have seen that it is all going to be finite. Even if I go to some Svarga Loka, Shine Punye Punarapi Mrityu Lokam Vishanti. Gita says this very clearly. And I cannot also determine the phalam, and the phalam is also finite and perishable, and it binds me to the samsara chakra. That is called Gati Nirodhakam. Gati Nirodhakam means what? It will make the mind more stressed out and anxious and turbulent. And it is an obstructing factor for the Gati. Gati means spiritual progress. Yeah? Now, it is clear with all this that the Shastra says that the seeker is the sought. Like the musk deer, not knowing that I am in possession of the ultimate goal, that is my Swarupa, I am searching for it outside, like the old lady looking for the needle. Yeah? And so that gets me caught in this samsara chakra, and that is gati nirodhaka. Whereas what is the solution now? Jnanameva mokshaha. Where if the deer knows that it is really in possession of the fragrance, it is not going to run about crazily. So when the seeker understands that I am all that I am seeking really, then that is through knowledge alone. But that knowledge, how am I going to get the knowledge? Only by Guru Prapti. So how will I get Guru Prapti? Only when my mind is peaceful. It has Shamaha, Damaha, Uparatihi, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. It has the Yogyata. And how will I get the Yogyata? Only when I have purified the karma nature in my mind. So this karma is like a double-edged sword. Yeah, if the karma is done for a personal agenda, for fulfillment of my own cravings and desires, it is going to be this Maha Udati. The Jiva will be drowning in samsara. But the next verse is going to talk about what we already know, that karma, when done in the right spirit of Karma Yoga, Ishwar Arpanam, will purify the mind, qualifying it for the liberating knowledge that I am indeed what I am seeking. The seeker is the sought. So that is pointed out here, that the role of karma is initially it will give finite results, and then this jiva, having fulfilled some dharma, artha, kama pursuits, realizes what? Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirvedam aya. He gains the dispassion and understands that no amount of karmas can give liberation. Karmas can give some security, some peace, some happiness, but I fulfill one desire, 10 more desires come up. So exponentially they are multiplying. And how else is this karmas a gati nirodhaka? Swamiji will explain that initially, we all desire for oneself. But slowly what happens? We include the family. Our desires become a big net. And I am concerned to fulfill for my whole family members. And then it becomes an ocean of samsara. My partner, then the family, then the great grandchildren. And so many karmas will be involved. Even if it's a religious life of devotion. I go on performing punya karmas, going to various temples and pujas. Then will I ever come to jnanam? So the idea is that to balance the karmas, initially go through the grahastha ashrama dharmas in the spirit of karma yoga, but then we have to balance the priorities and come to jnanam, shravanam, maranam, nididhyasanam for this purpose. So the mind that is covered by the veils, what are the veils? First is the impurity in the form of ragadvesha, smalam, and then there is chanchalatvam, oscillation, then there is avarana. Then only we come to the liberating knowledge. So initially the next verse is going to talk about karma yoga. How karma yoga is going to remove the malam of ragadveshas in my mind. Then after that, bhakti yoga sadhana will remove the oscillation of the mind. Then finally, jnana yoga will remove the avarana. Avarana through the mahavakyams. So in the first two shlokas, Bhagavan Ramana clearly points out that karma will never give moksha. In fact, Shankaracharya has said in the Viveka Chudamani, karma kotibhihi api mokshaha na labhyate. It will keep us in samsara, and it is a nirodhaka, obstacle in attaining moksha. And also we see that when we are, maybe we have a profession to pursue or family duties, do we always get time to pursue knowledge? No. If we are always busy in all these rituals, in worldly karmas, professional karmas and duties, then there be not time to approach a teacher and to devote time towards shravanam, mananam and nididhyasanam. So that is also how it is a gati nirodha. Okay. Let's see this shloka again. Now, that does not mean that karma is a waste of time. We are going to come to that. Kritimaho dadhau patana karanam phalamashashvatam gati nirodhakam. So the one who is, workaholic, workaholic, that is, the mind becomes so restless, it has to do something or the other, cannot sit still. And this is the main teaching of Ramana Maharishi. Be still and know who you really are. Who are you? So for that contemplative mindset, what do I have to do? Next shloka. To come out of this net of karma, which is entangling me and drowning me in this Maha Udadhi, what do I have to do? The next shloka shows us that. So, in a very compact way, Bhagavan proceeds from one verse to the next. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. Here, the idea is that karma is useful if it is performed without a personal agenda. Krishna has said this in the Gita many times, yajñārtha karma kuru. That is performing karma, the ordained duties and responsibilities as a Ishvara Arpanam, as a yajna. Same thing here. Ishvara arpitam na ichchaya kritam. Is my voice clear? Am I audible? Ishwararpitam kritam na ichchaya. So this is nothing but the twofold principles of karma yoga. So when the karma is done as a Ishvara arpanam, as a archana, and na ichchaya means not as as per my ragadveshas. I want to do this and hence I do this. No. Ishvara arpanam. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. So this is the whole idea of karma yoga. That is, whatever needs to be done by me, I do it as an offering to Ishvara. Let me display the third verse also. Yeah. So all the karmas that are performed as an offering to Parameshwara and done without the expectation of the fruits. And what will that do to me? Chitta Shodhakam. Chitta Shodhakam is nothing but Chitta Shuddhi, purity of the mind, and that becomes Mukti Sadhakam, sadhana for Mukti. But what kind of sadhana? Indirect sadhana. Now, Chitta Shuddhi is the indirect means to moksha because it is intermediate. Only when I gain the purity of the mind, a calm mind free from stress and anxiety, expectations, demands, and turbulent mind, will I be ready for Jnana Yoga. So, Jnana Meva Mokshaha, but this Ishwararpitam Kritam is a Chitta Shodhakam and a Mukti Sadhakam. It is a path which will lead me to the Shreyo Margaha, to Guru Prapti, and to Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So, we see that in the first two verses, Ramana Guru says that worldly activities, even religious activities, I go on performing pujas, yajnas. If I do it for a personal sankalpa, for some finite gain, then that will not give me moksha. That will be a nirodhaka, barrier to the spiritual growth. So then what should I do? I have so much karma left. So then should I stop doing karma? Should I stop my business? Stop my, the means of livelihood, everything? No. Karma does not give liberation, but it does not mean it is not useful. It is a stepping stone. And that is mentioned here. The stepping stone is Chitta Shodhakam, preparation of the mind. So Ramana Guru says here that perform all the karmas that is, your lot, but your motive should change. What is our usual motive? It will be putra, pautra, dhanam, all this vastram, dhanam. We have finite motives, personal motives will be there, yeah, for the pursuit of karma. Now, the Shastra says, perform your karma for chitta shuddhi, for the purification of the mind. So let the karmas be like the flowers offered at the feet of Bhagavan as an archana. And may one not pray for a particular result. We are not going to get anyway. We can expect a certain result, but whether that result will come, in what form it will come, when it will come, it is, anybody's guess. Karmanye vadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. We are only what? We are only the initiators of action, but we cannot determine the fruit of action. So thus, this is the path that when we ask for material benefits, prayers, then we are getting more entangled in this ocean of samsara. But we can convert a binding karma to a liberating karma by the simple shift of motive, by changing it to karma yoga, Ishwar Arpanam. And then, of course, this is linked directly with prasada buddhi. Now, when I offer my karmas, then I am purifying my mind. Then there is happiness in any situation. I will not feel stuck and ask questions like, why I have to do this karma? This is very unfair. Why I am in this situation? So this is called the protecting the mind, the reacting mind with this attitude of Ishvara Arpanam and Prasada. So Ishvara is going to receive all our karmas. It is like, bringing Naivedyam to a temple. And then what we receive? Prasadam. Prasadam is what we receive back from the altar of Ishvara. And that makes the mind strong and pure and clear. And in such a mind, what's going to happen? Viveka, Vairagya will come, and then there will be the Jnana Yogyata and capacity to pursue knowledge. Yeah. So now, let us see a review once again. So you see the introductory verses of Upadesha Saaram, introduce us to Vedanta. Basics of Vedanta, how karma by themselves are futile. They cannot give moksha, and actions are kaika, manasika, vachika actions, and any action is definitely performed with a certain purpose, and we may or may not get the result of that karma. Why? Because my knowledge is limited, my skill is limited, my resources are limited, so I can only prayerfully perform any karma. And behind, what is important to realize is that behind every karma, there is a need, there is a want, and that is the raga dvesha for attaining some goal. And Bhagavan here says that those goals are temporary, special results. And all of them are temporary, and then they will bear phalam. Phalam is ashashvatam and bringing us back to the cycle of samsara. So, the teaching is pointing out to the futility of desire-based actions, raga dvesha centered actions. And just with a change of attitude and action, we can gain a mind, chitta shodhakam will happen and make me fit for gaining the ultimate knowledge of Parameshwara. So this is how this Upadesha Saaram proceeds. Initially karma and karma yoga, then bhakti and dhyanam. What are the roles of all the sadhanas in life? But what is the ultimate role? Okay. So we'll stop here for today. and conclude with the Swasti mantras. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Marg Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om